Welcome to another day in wrong shoulder, Women's Entrepreneurship Week. And our guest today is Deb Newman, and Deb has had quite the journey to being an entrepreneur. And Deb started out in a lot of corporate positions with Caterpillar, and then in HR, and then on to Taylor Corporation, which became a VP of HR, and then became an executive director at a couple of organizations, Partners for Affordable Housing, and then the Children's Museum. But then she took a leap, a jump into entrepreneurship. So welcome, Deb. Thanks for joining us today. And you ready for this?
I am ready. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. So what was that like? That leap from being an executive director of a good size, the Children's Museum, a nonprofit, to being your own boss of a florist at Hilltop Florist?
Well, it wasn't originally planned, other than I knew early on in my career I wanted to own some type of boutique. And when I was at the Children's Museum, an opportunity had come to my husband and I about looking at purchasing a business, and it just wasn't the right fit for us, but it gave us kind of that hunger to want to run our own business. And shortly thereafter, Hilltop Florist became available, and my husband and I became the fifth owners of this storied florist here in town that's been around since 1880.
Yeah, well, I've been around in Mankato for quite a few years, and it has been a mainstay in the community, and it's great to have you running that and continuing it. I suppose you've had to learn a lot about the industry. Was that what was that learning curve like for you to do that?
Sure. So coming from the corporate world, everything is bigger and things move actually faster, where in dealing with small business, oftentimes I would run into businesses that maybe weren't computerized or were much slower in how inventory got to us. So there was a fairly big learning curve in the sense that I had to really learn everything about the business, from how do you design flowers, although I've been decorating pretty much all my life, and I enjoy that part. But learning the business, understanding the numbers, who's our competition, what's kind of the busy seasons, and how do we make sure product gets here in time, all of that, a learning curve, but certainly I felt like I was set up successfully based on my prior corporate experience.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And you mentioned something in there about holidays. Valentine's Day, of course, is the one when you think about flowers. And what's it like as an entrepreneur during those extreme, like Valentine's Day week, month, whatever it is for you? What is it like during that time?
Sure. So planning happens way in advance. We have to get in all of our orders to our vendors to make sure that product is coming in, because so much of the product is both US based, but comes in internationally as well. And so we've got to have a fairly substantial lead time before that comes in, making sure we're staffed appropriately, understanding that there's really probably, in the case of Valentine's Day, a 4-day window where we're just blasting out arrangements and then getting them ready to be delivered in a timely manner. So a lot of prep, no different than probably any other busy season that businesses experience. But I'm one of those that I like to plan for the worst case scenario, because then you're going to be able to address that if indeed something like that comes up. But thankfully, none of that has come up, other than minus 30-degree weather, which I cannot control.
Yeah, the 30. Yeah, that's weather is, we wish we could control it. But let's play off of that a little bit. As a florist with greenhouses, and I deal a lot with agriculture, and a lot of things there's becoming more, aquaponics, hydroponics. How's technology playing a role in what you're doing now?
Sure. So for us, I would say we're probably not as impacted as if we were a nursery. So to the things that you're speaking, but technology is a really big deal. For me, growing up in the corporate world, having a really good CRM, looking at how you're marketing, a lot of that was much easier in, I would say, big business compared to small business. So being able to figure out how can I pull out information out of the current systems that we use and be able to market successfully and timely to customers about what's coming up. So for us, I would say we've got a ways to go yet from a technology standpoint in the floral world. But I feel like with the team that we have, we're doing the best that we can at the moment, but certainly looking at new technology is always something in my mind is really important for a business owner to be looking at.
Yeah, well, that is great. Yeah, it is constantly changing. And so, and I've also known of you for a long time, and, not only the corporate, businesses that you've been with, but you've also done a lot in the community with volunteering. And whether it be with, the YMCA, I think you're on the board of that now. Are you correct? And Junior Achievement, United Way in the past. How important is that to an entrepreneur? Your time is so valuable trying to run your own business, but you're still finding time to be a volunteer in the community.
So that was probably instilled in me right from the get-go in my first job out of college. And I think it is critical for any entrepreneur to be involved in the community. For us, my husband and I, we have, as you have mentioned, we've served on so many different boards throughout our years here in the community. And that is just something that is near and dear to our heart because we are raising a family here. It's important that if we can, we give back in some way, whether that's monetarily or with our time volunteering. I think also because it was instilled early in my career, it gives you opportunities to really refine your leadership skills by being involved in different things within your community. So for me, I think it's just one of those things that I'm so blessed to have been a part of here in the Mankato area. Went to school here at MSU. We never left. We, raised a family here. And for us, one of the first things we did actually here at Hilltop Florist is we instilled a Hope and Bloom program the first month that we owned the business. And that just was kind of our way of saying we care about this community. And so each month we choose a nonprofit where we'll create a floral arrangement and 20% of the proceeds go to that nonprofit of that month. So part of our job is to help the community understand the needs that are there. And having ran 2 nonprofits, it's near and dear to my heart that we figure out how to get other people involved in our community as well.
Yeah, well, that's great. And thank you for doing that in our community. I'm going to ask you one last question. And it's more of, what kind of advice would you give? It's Women's Entrepreneurship Week. And, we have a lot of, young women that are in our entrepreneurship classes and in the entrepreneurship club. And what kind of advice, and you were an executive, a woman executive as well. And what kind of advice can you give to the young women aspiring to be entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Be a trailblazer, believe in yourself, and go get it. I worked with a lot of brilliant people in my career, and it's not always easy for women in today's world to be leaders or at the table. And I always believe I deserve to be at the table, and I worked hard to get to the table. So if I had any recommendations for anyone who's listening to this is believe in yourself and go after it. And I always believed if I gave my all and I did my best and I treated people respectfully, I wanted to leave a situation better than when I first got involved. So leaving it better. And so for me, that's always been something that's important is change is inevitable. So how can I make positive change in the businesses that I'm a part of, to the people that I work with, and making sure that I'm helping people develop and learn. And the other thing I would say is find your own personal board of directors, meaning who can give you the advice that you need to hear or the feedback that maybe isn't someone that you work with every day, but people that you surround yourself with who are potentially mentors to you that will help you learn and grow in different ways. And don't just stick to your, your current realm. Like, for instance, I was in human resources. It was really important to me that I had some IT people that were, supporting me or teaching me, as well as operational people. So to be a business leader, understand the full business, and go out there and have fun.
All right. Well, that's some great advice, and I just want to just end it here, but just say thanks to you for being here and all that you do in the community and the advice that you've passed on to our students and others in the community watching this. So thanks, and really have a wonderful Women's Entrepreneurship Week.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.